Hey guys, it's another DMARC update for January 2025. So it's been a few years, and we still don't know where DMARC is, and frankly, we really don't give a shit anymore. But we did find out something interesting. Public records show that Daryl, DMARC, got married recently. I find it funny as hell that we've come full circle here. He seems to be doing the same thing that I did with my life. When his mother and I first got together, we dated for like a month or two, and then for some odd reason, she decided to go back to her ex, Gabriel's father, briefly. So I got pissed off and I decided that every woman in Tucson, Arizona was a slut and a whore, and I grabbed a friend of mine and the two of us moved to Benson, Arizona for a year to get away from it all. I figured his mother and I were finished for good. But then a year later, she suddenly calls me up on the phone using a method as old as the rainbow. You see, back then I was using dial-up internet to download huge files, so my computer was basically connected to the phone line using the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. My friend often got pissed off at me when I was on the internet so much because the phone line was hers and she used it to talk to her family in Los Angeles a lot. One day, while I was downloading large files on my computers, I suddenly got disconnected from the phone line, and the phone started ringing. My friend answered it and told me that it was for me. I had a phone next to me connected to my computer, so I also picked up the phone and said hello, and the voice on the other end said, "Hi, Sean, it's me. Can I come over?" The voice sounded kind of familiar to me, so I thought I knew who it was and automatically said, "Sure." But right after I said that, I suddenly gained my composure and I said, "Wait, who is this?" And she said, "It's Leanne." And when I asked her how she was able to call me when my computer was connected to the internet downloading large files, she told me that she called the operator and told them that it was an emergency and that she needed them to break the line to talk to me. I wasn't mad about it at the time because she appeared to be being nice to me all of a sudden after such a long time. So I went with it and allowed it to happen. Boy, did I ever make a huge fucking mistake with that. I don't remember what happened after that, but I would certainly love to know that if I was such a bad person, why did she come crawling back to me? She went back to her ex a year before that. She didn't even give me any sort of explanation, except for a bold-faced lie telling me that it was my ex's fault that we split up. She told me that my ex talked a lot of shit to her about me and that she decided that I wasn't worthy of her time and she went back to her ex. And now she blames me for us having many problems when she is the one who came crawling back to me begging for me to take her back. At this point in the story, I didn't care. I was going to try and make a better life for myself come hell or high water, so I went with it. I allowed his mother to come back to me. I actually thought that we lived a great life. I know I may have gotten a little too cocky over the years and acted like a maniacal overlord, but I didn't know any other way to discipline kids. Maniacal overlord was how I was raised. And even though there was only one person in my family who was actually raised in the military, our whole family was raised military, with the bed making, the military corners, the sir yes sirs, and the whole 9 yards. Looking at me now, being as big as I am, and physically unfit, you may think to yourself, huh, look at his fat ass, he wasn't raised in the military. Well, let me tell you something. Being raised military in a family ain't the same as being raised military in the actual military. Families only take the discipline side of it, whereas the military is mostly physical and weapons training. I had such a shitty life that I decided to endure a lot of bullshit going through that 15-year relationship that I had with Leanne. Yeah, she has a lot to say about the things that I did to her, but I guarantee that maybe only less than a third of it is true. Mostly the parts about how I was such an asshole sometimes, but that was only me retaliating against her whenever she would get on her stupid rants and start accusing me of shit that I didn't do, like teleporting my ex to our bed to have sex with her while she was sleeping. Whatever. Who the hell does that? Or she would accuse me of taking something of hers, like, say, an eye pencil from her makeup case, and replaced it with an inferior item of the same kind. Who the fuck does that, really? Like a cheaper brand. Seriously, think to yourself, what exactly would anybody gain from doing that? Nothing, because it was all bullshit lies. It was Leanne's way of creating the biggest shitty situation that she could, lie to people to get out of it, when all she had to do was say to me, Sean, you're not worthy of my attention anymore, so I'm leaving. That at least would have been way better than screwing with my head and telling me that I did nothing wrong and then go behind my back and tell everybody that I did do something wrong. I mean, what a bitch. I would have been hurt, and yeah, I might have tried to stop her like I did many times before that. Hell, if it was that many times that she tried to leave me, maybe I should have fucking let her go. I might have begged her to stay, but if she still wanted to leave, I would have had no choice but to let her go. But instead, she creates all this bullshit, gets her case manager and doctor involved, and I end up being the bad guy. You know, she actually tried to get me arrested for poisoning her once. I was on my way home from work one day, and I was walking to our apartments up on North Alvernon years ago from the bus stop up on the street at Grant and Alvernon, I believe it was. And when I got off the bus, I noticed that there was a 2-liter bottle of soda sitting on the ground at the bus stop unattended. It looked like it hadn't even been opened, like someone had bought it and caught the bus and left it there by accident. So I went over to it and picked it up and examined it. And I was right. I don't remember what kind of soda it was, but I noticed that it was a brand new bottle of soda and hadn't even been opened yet. So I was golden. I wouldn't have even touched it if I had noticed that it had been opened and some had been gone from it. But it was fine, because it was still unopened and perfectly sealed. So I grabbed it and took it home and told Leanne about it, that I found it at the bus stop on my way home from work, and told her to grab a glass so that we could drink it. Well, I don't know what her thinking was at the time. I kept on telling her, here, have some. I mean, it was free soda, for Christ's sake, but apparently I made too much of a big deal about her drinking it. I mean, I was drinking it. If it was poison, don't you think I would be dead? Seriously. I mean, what a fucking idiot. The next morning I woke up, got on my computer to check my downloads. Downloading is my life. I mean, I love to get shit for free. Who wouldn't? And Leanne comes out of the bedroom. Everything was fine. I thought nothing of it. I was busy doing my thing on my computer when a few minutes later I hear a loud bang on the door, and the voice on the other side shouting, "Police officers, open the door!" It scared the shit out of me. I mean, I had never had any kind of trouble with the police ever in my entire life, and suddenly they were banging on our door ordering us to open it, in loud voices like they were serious. Leanne didn't move a muscle. She just stood there halfway between the bedroom and the living room staring at me like she knew what was going on. Apparently, she had it all planned. As soon as I left the bed to do the morning routine, she got on her phone and called the damn cops on me, and for no fucking reason, too. Nothing happened, of course, because I'm a law-abiding citizen. I respect the police, so I did what I was told. I didn't want them breaking into the door and kicking it down, so I opened it. And there were 2 officers. One was standing at the door with his hand on his gun, ready to draw. The other one had one of those rubber bullet rifles. I was like, what the hell is going on here? The officer ordered me to come outside with him and sit down and talk to him, while the other went inside the house to talk to Leanne. I have no clue what the other officer was talking to Leanne about. I'm betting she told them the story that I tried to poison her. I mean, why else would the police take her and the bottle of soda with them? They obviously had it tested, and when the test came back negative, of course, because I didn't try to poison her, suddenly I was being asked to come to the mental hospital to visit her, because they put her in there when she tried to make up a bunch of shit about me that wasn't true. Apparently, there were too many holes in her made-up story, and they caught on to it and put her there where she fucking belonged at the time, in treatment. But guess what? My stupid ass put up with all that bullshit, because I still thought there was a chance for us to have a good life. Man, was I stupid. I wanted a good life, and I was trying everything that I could to make that happen and keep it. no matter how fucked up badly it was falling apart in front of me. And every time she went into those mental hospitals, it was either by her choice or by something she fucked up and did and said to somebody that made them put her in there. But every time she went in there, she blamed me for it. Wow. Let me tell you, the only fucking time it was my fault for her being in those places was when she kept on fucking bugging the piss out of me to call her case manager and doctor and make up shit that she was doing and wasn't doing, things that she told me to say to them. And my dumb ass did it so that she would leave me the fuck alone and shut the fuck up about it. She has a real good way of manipulating people. Sound familiar? I'm betting the old dude that she's currently with now is currently experiencing the very same thing. Maybe not the mental hospital thing, but her attitude and the way she is and how absolutely fucking greedy she is with money. Yes. And as far as I know, the whole time she was in and out of those mental hospitals, not one of her family members ever went to visit her. Maybe the once or twice when she first went in, but after that, it was just me. I was the only person who went in every day during every visiting hour posting, visiting her, smuggling cigarettes and lighters into her so that she'd have something to smoke even though she wasn't supposed to. And of course she got caught with the shit. I had to stop smuggling it into her because she had no other visitors coming in to see her, so of course they were going to think it was me. But yet after all this, I'm such a terrible person. Oh yeah, I know how it is. I'm Leanne, and my significant other is such an asshole that every time I end up in the mental hospital, he visits me every day during every visiting hour posting and speaks love and respect to me and makes sure that I'm never alone and never feeling unloved. And he smuggles cigarettes and lighters into me to make sure that my nerves are calm enough to deal with this bullshit. Nobody in my family visits me, and he's the only one. Yeah, if that makes me a terrible person, fuck you, then I'm a terrible person. What I am, really, is a fucking idiot for ever caring about her in the first place. I guess that I would take that same kind of attitude, too, if I were only going into the mental hospitals to get attention. I guess she wasn't getting enough attention from me, even though we were constantly stuck up each other's asses 24/7. I mean, how much more attention does someone need? I actually found out she was cheating on me while she was at Keno Hospital in the mental ward with one of the male staff members, or maybe even two. They actually took me aside and told me about it when I visited her once. They told me that they had to fire someone because they had complaints about a member of their staff from the patients, saying that he was soliciting them for sex, offering them cigarettes just to cop a feel. I mean, it wasn't actual intercourse, but I still call it cheating, because she would rather have a cigarette than stay composed in that place and wait to get out to have sex with me. I mean, come on. Give me a break. I still call it cheating. While she was in those places, instead of following the program like she was supposed to, she was fucking around with the corrupt staff members. I always wondered why there were times when she would get caught with the cigarettes and there were times when she wouldn't get caught with them. I'm guessing the times she got caught with them, she either got stupid with holding it or hiding it, or she denied this staff member she was screwing around with once or twice while she was in there, and he decided to revoke her little personal smoking privileges and get her in trouble because she wouldn't suck his... Okay, I'm going to stop right there, but you get the idea. Needless to say, the son of a bitch got fired, and hopefully criminal charges were brought against him. And you're probably asking yourself, why does he even still give a shit about any of this? Well, here's your answer. Tell me that you wouldn't be the same damn way if this were done to any of you. I've explained the situation exactly as it happened. Put yourself in my place and ask yourself, wouldn't I be the same exact way if someone I really loved and cared about did this to me? And then come and tell me, my story makes no sense. Betcha you can't. I simply acted as any human being would. And after all that, I'm done with this rant. Who knows if it'll be the last one. I'm sure finding it funny as hell that Daryl has moved on, gotten married, and trying to make a happy life for himself. The exact same thing that I tried to do with his mother long before he was born, but failed. I can only hope that this relationship with this woman works out, because I wouldn't want his attitude to ruin his life like mine ruined mine. And you're probably saying to yourself, huh? He's actually blessing this unity of two souls? I don't get it. Well, if you saw my last video about D-Mark, you would know that I actually want Daryl to experience a piece of the good life, like I did. I actually want Daryl to be with someone and be loved and love them back. I actually want Daryl and his wife to have a child and raise it and love it and bring it into this world and show it what the world is like. And if this woman already had a child before him, like his mother had Gabriel before me with someone else, cool. The child doesn't even have to be related to him. I actually want Daryl to see what it's like to actually be a father, to love his kid to the moon and back. I actually want Daryl to experience what it's like to try to discipline that child and teach it right from wrong, and have it grow up to be a teenager and have it absolutely rebel against him and treat him like absolute shit, exactly like he did to me. I actually want Daryl's kid to constantly laugh at him and make fun of him and instigate him at every turn, so that he'll know what it was like for me when he did that to me. Because Daryl will never, ever know the magnitude of it and how much of an absolute fucking nightmare it is until it's done to him. And most of all, he'll know how much it hurts to be called names and be treated like shit by his own flesh and blood. He had no right to call me a fat ass when he himself also is a fat ass, and still to this day struggles with problems with his weight. Want to call me a fat ass? Fuck you. Look in the mirror. I may have acted like a maniacal overlord with my discipline, and I may have spanked them a little too hard when they got out of hand, but let me tell you something. That is all I am guilty of here. And maybe I'm guilty of trying to be a good father, but that's it.
Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter.